George. We're live.
Cool. Good evening, everyone. Hope we're doing all right on this windy / snowy / rainy / all the weathers in the world Monday. Hope you're all doing well. We are going to do a review of the reckoning of Lina Hurtig. Sorry, the Juventus review. So let me introduce you to my guest, Mel. Brilliant to have you here again. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright. You?
Yeah, not too bad. We won't talk about games being abandoned. That might be a bit of a touchy subject.
Yeah, touchy subject right now.
So yeah, the big A. How you doing, Andrew?
It's the interlude, isn't it, George? It's miserable time. All the proper football's gone. But you know what? We're on a winning streak, so I'm all right.
What are you trying to say, that the West Ham versus Newcastle United game that's on a Monday night is not important?
Well, no, it isn't. But
it's
it's all Arsenal. If it's not Arsenal, I'm not interested.
Yeah, fair point, to be fair. James, how you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. Christmas season's coming, so we're all in a jolly mood.
Did Rangers win at the weekend?
Rangers women won at the weekend. One of our teams beat Dundee United.
Right.
Don't worry about the men on this channel. That's all right.
Now a bad time to just solely reveal what top I'm wearing underneath my Arsenal jumper.
Lord.
Ain't you about like 20 points behind Celtic or something?
Saying that's pretty decent for us this time of year. Usually been here, but asking the championship what availability they've got.
Jack, how you doing, mate? It was really good to see you last week.
Yeah, it was good to be there. I think what's even more shocking is the fact that James is talking about Christmas and we're still in November, to be fair. He said surely it's a strict December Christmas only when the floodgates open for that one.
The tree's up, sorry. Christmas is coming.
Oh my God, the tree's up. What?
The tree's
James. James. We spoke about this.
On that note, Paul, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'll just say one thing there, bar humbug to James. The tree, there's only one place the tree should be up at the moment, and that's up in the loft.
Oh, where are you going to go with that one then?
I was like, if Paul drops an X-rated comment, not even before 8 o'clock, I'm up for that. He basically wants you to stick it up your arsenal. Thank you to those who are watching so far. We're going to obviously just talk about the Juventus game, talk about a couple other like Arsenal things. A lot of rumours have been going around that Carla Ward is returning to management. So obviously everyone thinks on Facebook and Twitter, or sorry, X, that Carla Ward's going to be the new manager. But we'll get into that afterwards. So we'll start with the Juventus game. I'll start with you, Jack. Obviously, you was there. How was your whole match day before we get into the game? Was it good?
Yeah, it was. To be fair, I went up on the Wednesday. That's why I got so confused last week about when it started. Visited a bit of family, saw some friends down in London, met up with you guys, had a good couple of pints, managed to finally put some names to faces and faces to names, which is always good. But fucking hell, George, it was cold. I thought I was prepared for it. I thought, coming from Grimsby, been at many games at Blundell Park with a nice North Sea wind coming in. I thought, what do I have to worry about? I froze me tits off, honestly. So I'm not sure how much I can talk on the game. I just remember singing to stay warm, not staying warm, the cup of tea line being too long to get a cup of tea, and just being immensely relieved when Lina Hurtig scored at the end. And then also the full-time whistle as well was quite welcome.
What I do like is that you said you came to see friends and then you come and saw us lot.
Friends as well.
But no, I agree. It was cold. I looked at my phone at one time and it was like -2. So not too bad. Yeah, I'll go to you, Mel, because you're probably giving me dead eyes because where I'm talking about how cold it is. So it's probably a lot colder in Scotland.
I usually say it's actually not warm, but it's not cold here today. So
What is it? 1?
I'm going to take a stab in the dark, say it's like 5, but it is raining and windy as hell.
That Costa del Scotland, that.
No.
Obviously, going to the game, and it was the same team, I think, that played against Spurs. Was you surprised there was not more changes, or was you happy with that lineup?
No, I was quite happy with the lineup. I think, like you said, there was no changes from Spurs. I think how he performed in the Spurs game was to then go out and play the same lineup. I was hoping for a slightly better game, not that I actually got to watch any of it because I was out training in the snow. But was hoping for a better game. But we'll take a win anyway.
Yeah. Andrew, I'll come to you. I don't know, obviously, from the TV, because us real fans were at the game. Not that he don't do midweek. So.
Got a job, mate, that's all.
Oh, that's no excuse. I've got a job. Mel, when Mel was working, she was travelling across the whole world. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it come through on the TV, but did you think that like towards the start of the game it was a bit flat? Because like with where we was in the atmosphere bit, it I don't know. It just seemed not as Jack. You might be able to tell as well. It was a bit flat. I don't know. Everyone seemed to be a bit cold. I think there was problems with tickets. So, how did it come across on the TV?
Not too bad actually. I think they're quite canny with the way they mic things up. I'm sure they kind of put it near to certain blocks. I know the crowd was it 9,000?
Yeah,
which all things considered, when it was a midweek. It was freezing cold. The game didn't have a great deal of jeopardy about it, probably. But yeah, it wasn't too bad actually. I thought it was, but and equally that was a proper Italian game, wasn't it? That was a traditional Italian defensive lineup. The fullback stayed back this time, so no, I thought it came across okay on the TV, and sometimes that's about sort of where they set their microphones up though.
Yeah, I think with it as well, that it was like a low block, wasn't it? So like it was just about trying to break that like you said, that defensive unit. And I think what might have put a bit of pressure on it, obviously Valerenga getting a point at Bayern Munich, obviously puts a bit more on that game, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. But I suppose I thought in the second half they might kind of be a little bit more adventurous, Juve. But even in this, because they needed, if I'm right, they needed that win.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
and they just didn't seem at all interested. They were just kind of, put those. I don't know how he sold it to the players. But those fullbacks were not budging, and the midfield were kind of just sat at arm's length away from the centre backs, and they were attacking. When they were attacking with 1, maybe 2 against 4 or 5 sometimes. So that was, I suppose, that doesn't help the atmosphere in that sense because there's no jeopardy, there's no threat, there's no tension. But who cares? We won.
As I was saying, as a bit of a joke, it's the Claire Wheatley project. That basically what happens is they plan to play Bayern Munich at the Emirates. It gets took away to another state, to Meadow Park. We pretend that we play really bad, so then the owners goes. Then we end up winning the group at Meadow Park on the last day. Then when we can, means that we get to beat Barcelona in the final.
Ah, what a plan!
Yes. She knows.
She's ahead of it. She's ahead of her time. That's why we don't understand it.
That genuinely is what happens. Then maybe I'll stop flagging her off for a couple of days.
If that does
Just
happen,
a couple days though.
if that does happen, then I think people will be asking me to predict the lottery, because if I've just laid that out as a plan. So yeah, James, I'll come to you. Obviously, it was bit of a gritty first half. We had a couple of chances, didn't we? But it was more just trying, like what Andrew was saying. It was a proper defensive performance from Juventus, wasn't it?
It was a decent defensive display by Juventus, but for us, I don't know if it was the weather, and maybe there's a wee bit of pressure knowing we get the win, we're through. But for me, most of the game, we were very flat in comparison to how we have been since Jonas has left. But luckily, obviously, Lina gets a goal at the end. But I feel for me, I'd have liked to have seen a few of the subs come on earlier. Maybe a bit more of an attacking presence, and actually throw something towards it and go for it a bit sooner than what we did.
Yeah. Paul, do you think the performance do you think that was just the more the way Juventus set out, or do you think there was probably a bit of lack of energy from the Tottenham game? Do you think that carried over?
I'd say most of it was probably down to Juventus changed their style of play in that second the game at the Emirates compared to the first game against them. They set up differently. They set up very defensively. If it was me playing, I'd be bouncing off the walls after that 3-0 win at Spurs, and I'd have carried that into the Juventus game, and the girls should have had the energy, psychological advantage to say, look, we've just beaten Juventus, we've just beat Spurs, come on, let's go and do it again. But the way Juventus set up, completely different style of play. They just couldn't seem to break them down, and they just didn't. Yeah. Something just didn't quite work for them this time. But we've had 7 games now under Rene, and we've been brilliant in all of them. You're going to have a little blip now and again, and if that's the little blip, then I'll take it.
Yes.
And as long as we don't have a blip against Bayern on the last day, then happy days.
Yeah, I think it. I agree, because the way Jack, I'll come back to you. The way it is now is, I can't believe we're having this conversation about do we need to win the group or come second, because I think if we win the group, is it Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Roma or Wolfsburg? But then if we finish second, I think is it Chelsea? I can't remember. But it's more. It's probably harder, isn't it, to finish second? So we're probably better winning the group, Jack. I think we would.
You're always better to win the group. Just like, always win the group. I've never believed in finishing second in order to get an easier draw. Don't like it in international football. Don't like it in domestic football. Win the group. To be the best, you've got to beat the best. You're going to play them at one point or another. And if fate says you do it in the quarterfinals, so be it. We'd all like Barcelona in the final, I think, just because. But actually, I don't know. I wouldn't mind Barcelona in the semis, actually. I know they're playing at the Olympic Stadium, and I was in Barcelona in the summer, and it's in an ever so nice area, their ground, at the moment, even when they're not at the new camp. So, yeah, perhaps an April trip in the sun to Barcelona wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Quick one before I move on to it. Who would you want in the final?
Spurs.
Spurs. I meant the Champions League, not the League Cup.
I'd go Chelsea. I think we got a great track record against them in finals.
I don't know if people could deal with that, because
I can't. No.
It's the verge of the Alès like it would be the Alès Cup final.
I don't know. I think Chelsea worry me this season, and I've never believed in wishing other teams to stop them. Do it yourself. Be the ones to go and stop them. And we showed enough, even under Jonas, in that absolutely shit game, that we had enough to beat Chelsea on a day. We created plenty of chances, and I would back us to do it in a final.
I'm surprised you not mentioned my cup final I said in the pub. Andrew and Mel might appreciate this. I said I wanted Man City in the final, and Miedemar scored an own goal in the 90th minute.
That would be glorious.
And I think I would probably die and go to heaven.
Would make it even better that she left because she wants to try and play more Champions League football.
Yeah. Yeah. So that'll probably be us cancelled and abused on Twitter. So just be prepared.
I tell you, I could go on a very long rant, George, about some of the takes I've seen since Miedemar left the club. Great player at the time. But I think people have forgotten whose choice it was for her to leave. Because I don't think it was the club's.
I've seen some interesting ones. Obviously, Mel, and then obviously it went 0-0. We made the subs, and then Lina Hurtig scored the winner. I thought when she come on, she obviously played quite well. I know, obviously, she scored the goal, but before that, she just offers that something different, doesn't she?
Yeah, I think every sort of game that we've subbed her on, be it the last 5 minutes, last 10 minutes, no matter when she's came on the pitch, she seems to have made a bit of a difference. I think it's just having another forward with a very different style of play by themselves that then works within the team setup. It just really throws teams off. So when you go from having players like Russo on the pitch to then switch that to Lina Hurtig, who's got a completely different style of play, as a defender, you're then looking at them going, how the fuck am I supposed to mark you? Like, what am I supposed to do with you? I've spent 80 minutes dealing with Russo, and I know after the first 5-10 minutes I knew what I was dealing with, but then for the last 10 minutes where it's still 0-0, you're scrambling, you want to take the 0-0 draw at that point if you're Juventus.
Yeah.
Or then come on, and then you've got to try and work her out very, very quickly. Considering she's not played a lot of games in a good while, so there's not going to be a lot of film on that on her for the teams to study. It's a hard one as a defender, but it's obviously working in our favour.
Yeah. Do we have any comments, Mel?
We have a few. Laura said Celtic showed that Chelsea are nothing special, and that was with a few of their big names on the pitch. Correct. Yeah. When Celtic went 1-0 up against Chelsea at Parkhead, I was at football and I literally fell to my knees on the pitch. Never been so happy in my life. Laura's also taking blame for the Christmas tree being up.
Yeah, I thought it had Laura vibes, to be fair.
Darren's admitted that he was at the game of man flu, and after 30 minutes he decided that he was far too unwell and he went home, and he's very sorry he didn't get to see the legend that is Jack.
I was about to say, we sure this wasn't Darren just leaving after the first 30 minutes performance.
could go either way. I'll let him answer that one.
Forgivable.
You've got to make sure you bet for Oslo, Darren.
It's also been said that in Laura and James's household, the only person they could hear on the telly was George, and that James asked for George to be a little louder.
Oh, right, James. I remember that.
So, generally, it was only about the first couple of minutes, all you could hear was George Loudon coming over. And then, as you said, it took about 15-20 minutes, and then the crowd sort of picked up. I think that was, as Jack said, the frostbite was coming in a bit and trying to keep warm.
Yeah, just when everyone sounded really bored when they were singing. It was just a bit. But I suppose there was reasons. I know there was some issues with tickets in some of the blocks or something.
Yeah, I think they sold tickets in, was it block 11, but then they didn't open block 11. So the stewards were telling people to just sit wherever in block 12, and people were sitting in people's seats that they paid for. And
yeah, that's the problem. What happened? So Becky, that goes to the games, she was sold basically 3 tickets, even though she only wanted 1. So she sent the other 2 back, and then the last couple of games, Champions League games she's been to, when she's gone to sit in her seat, there's someone already there. Yeah. So they've been selling basically the same ticket to. It's been a bit like Survivor Series that's coming up there. Everyone's got to fight for the seat. So, yeah.
I have to say, people weren't massively keen on joining in either at the start. I was all ready to go with a lovely rendition of Renee, We Want You to Stay, which unfortunately by the end was still me just going on my own, which I don't think was good for anyone around me, nor myself.
To the tune of what, Jack? Renee, we want you to, what's the tune?
We want you
We
to
want you
stay.
to stay. That's the one. Yeah.
Andrew would know if he sung the songs.
All right, Sergeant.
To be fair, we did get boom, boom, boom. Renee's in the room. Started on the concourse, so that was everyone. People were saying, "Oh, you have to like have a breath at the end of it." But that's fine. Just stop for a second and start again. Yeah. Okay, to you, Andrew. Obviously, like what Mel was saying about Lina Hurtig. Like, do you think? Obviously, she's been coming on for the last few minutes of games a couple of times now. She's got really important goals. We'd like to see her play a bit more, and then I think her contract's up in the summer, isn't it?
It might well, but 100%. Yeah, I guess they're having to sort of manage her minutes as well, and I get the sense at the moment Renee's just playing a bit of a. Well, she's playing the short game. That's what she's been given, so she's not really considering sort of the long term at the moment. But yeah, she's earned it, hasn't she? That's the other thing. It's not just about managing minutes. She's earned that. She's come on and she's been an absolute menace. People are really struggling with her aerial ability, her height, and it's interesting that I guess the other thing that Renee seems to be letting her to play to her strengths, whereas Jonas was often kind of insisted that he wanted a speedy winger. She's not. She's an attacking forward who happens to basically her dominion is the far post. So yeah, you want us to do it, and as Mel said, I think she's a big, literally a big change up. When they're trying to handle people like nippy guys like Mariana and Alessia, and then Lina comes on like a wrecking ball, and they can't manage her. So yeah, 100%. I'd love for her to get a lot more time, and she's earned it.
Yeah. Paul, do you think that the club will offer her a new deal in the summer if she continues playing the way she is, or do you think it's just giving her a chance to play and go from there? Because I think is it a partner's pregnant? Have I got that right?
Yes, I believe it is.
Yeah. So
I think a lot of it's going to depend on the coach or manager that comes in, and what their view is on it, and not just with Lina, but a few of the players.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to see her, get these minutes each match, and it seems to be working. Bringing her off the bench with sort of 10, 15 minutes to go, and like everyone else has said, she's a different player to the likes of Alessia up there, and she gives the defenders a bit of a nightmare because they don't know what they're playing against. So, so yeah, it's working. With this, it's just something else he's done that it could have been in Jonas's mind to do it, but a bit of a coincidence that the first game he's not there. Lina gets her chance. But yeah, I think the club have obviously supported her through whatever happened last season. So if she's got some loyalty to the club and they offer a new contract, I'd hope she'd stay. But a lot of it, like I just said, is going to depend whoever is picking that team come May.
Yeah.
Could I have a supplemental question, George, and ask Paul, Cool or Hurtig to stay if you only had one?
Oh,
that's terrible. I apologise, but go on, answer.
Somebody challenged me not to mention her name during this entire show today.
Well, you didn't, to be fair. I've brought it up.
On current performance, it would be Lina, but that's probably because she's played a lot more minutes than Cool has this season. But I'd like both of them to be playing and both of them to stay.
Who was it who asked you not to mention?
One of my mates that watches the show.
Okay. I thought it was your daughter. That's what I was asking. But yeah, she's just the new Sarah Bahadi, isn't she? I suppose. I will go to you, James. Obviously, now they got the win that they needed, obviously, to qualify. We've got to go to Valerenga next and then Bayern Munich. Do you think? Do you think we've got a good chance of winning the group now, or do you still think it's a tall ask?
No, I think definitely got a good chance of winning the group. It's just all now down to how we handle that pressure. The pressure of qualifying's off, as you're saying. It's now, what way do you want to go? Do you want to settle, take second place, and take the pot luck of what's going to finish first, or do you want to go win it and actually show we mean business in this group, rather than, as many of us were fearing not so long ago, are we even going to qualify? Never mind finish second. So I would like to see us go for it, but I think I can, especially against Bayern, I can see us playing the same way we did against Juventus there and being safe. Sit back, soap up, and see what we can hit on a counter.
Yeah. Cool. We'll go around and do a quick thing. So it's a return of the Steph Catley Head Pat. Just because I know Andrew likes a bit of that. Not Steph Catley patting your head, just mean the award thing.
I wouldn't say no. It means I've been a good boy.
This is getting very dangerous ground. Anyway, Mel, who are you going for?
I would love to say the obvious one and go with Kim because she got played of the match. But I am going to go with Lina, not only for her getting us the goal, but just the way that she's been changing games recently when she's came on the pitch.
Yeah.
I would need a ladder or like a boost up to probably pat her on the head, but I'd make it happen.
Yeah, drop your people who you think it should be in the chat, and then we'll give it a shout out. Jack?
I think I'd go Emily Fox. Yeah, I thought everything. Juventus was never going to be an easy game. They impressed me quite a bit actually in how they defended. They won again at the weekend in Serie A. They're unbeaten. Like, this was not a straightforward game. I think quite a few of us were rightfully fearing for our place in the Champions League. And just everything she does with energy, drive. She does the defensive part of the game so well that you can almost sit and watch her attack. I'm just going to say this very controversially, though, George. If I was to put someone in your doghouse this week, I might put Rosa Kafaji in there. I love her song, but I don't think she did really anything after coming on. It wasn't long, but I can almost start to see why she's not being given quite as many chances as I think a lot of us have wanted at times. In the sub-pecking order, I would put Lina quite comfortably above her in terms of actually coming on and making an impact at the moment.
Comments are blowing up, Jack. Run.
By comments, he means Darren. Darren's blowing up.
We've gone from 68 subscribers to 8.k or something. I wish. Yeah, I do get that sentiment, but I do think she's probably lucky if she even gets 10 minutes.
She's a raw diamond, but I do think she is still very, very raw. And I think in terms of coming on and actually making an impact, actually changing the game, I do think there are probably 3 or 4 players I would put on before her at the moment. I think it's almost the hope of what might happen with Rosa. She also gives the ball away quite a bit by trying stuff, which I know is not bad if you're 2-3-0 up. But if you're 0-0 in a Champions League game, there were a few moments where she made me quite nervous when she came on.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, I can't imagine what Darren's doing. He's probably thrown sand across the room. So, Paul, who are you going for your Steph Catley Head Pat of the week?
I'm actually going to go for Renee this week. I think just making the changes that she did when she did, just it did change the game towards the end. not afraid to take the risks, like bringing Lina on, and it paid off. So yeah, just go with Rene this time.
Yeah, James.
I'm going to go. Mine just more, not just for the other night, but for the last few weeks. I'm going to give it to Van Dursler because I think, although she's not had much to do between the sticks, when she has been called upon in games, she's always been solid. So I'll give my head back to her.
Cool. Yeah, just someone said in the chat about Leah Volti's pulled out of the Switzerland squad. Good. Means she can't get injured on international duty. So I don't think it'll be that serious.
I've heard it's nothing muscular, George. I've seen on the rumours it's more of an illness as opposed to a actual injury. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard it's more of an illness rather than anything muscular or anything long term, which I hope is correct.
Yeah, Dark Arts FC. We need her for Villa and Valerenga. I'm going to be really obvious and go for Kim. I thought she played really, really well again. But then again, I think we're seeing the best of Leah Volti now as well. So I think that helps with Kim as well. So yeah. We've done the head pat. Right, now we're going to the doghouse. And I'm taking a running jump with this one. So as we know, I'd sit comfortable, Andrew. So as we know, the Arsenal women fan base has been basically a bit shit on by Arsenal Football Club because of what happened with Bayern Munich. Fine, we can't keep going over that. We can't change it. It's at Meadow Park, whatever. We're getting really spoilt with a £20 voucher for each booking and a free ticket, even though most of us have season tickets or haps. But
you can get a cuddly window dog for the £20 voucher, George, in the Armoury. But I think that's about it from what I looked at when I went round.
All right. Changes my rant altogether now. That so we get that. So you think, oh, you know what? Yeah, fair enough. Give them their due. What can they do? So maybe they'll try and make up for it at the Emirates. Do they fuck? So, let's read the programme. Oh, it's brilliant. Always like reading the programme. The views from my manager, Jonas Eiderbar. What the fuck you on about? Like, you know how to upset the fan base already. You can't even be bothered to change to even see who the manager is. Like, I think that was why I was so annoyed. I was absolutely fuming. And even the players must have worked that out because they weren't playing as good. So they probably thought, oh no, hold on. Rene ain't been let go and Jonas is back, is it? I was so pissed off with it. And how it's not hard, is it? Like, surely someone must have got in trouble for that. They must have done. So, yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I'll start with you, Mel.
I think it's stupid, if I'm honest. I think it's the little things like that keep shafting us. Doesn't take long to have somebody proofread the programme for it sent to be printed. It's not the first time you've seen an issue in the programme this season. My club, we do a programme for our home games, and I don't think we've not had any major blunders like that, and we've just got volunteers that are doing it. We don't have folk that are being paid to do it. So, somebody's definitely pulled into an office somewhere and had an absolute beasting after seeing that. But it's just the little things like that keeps mugging us off. Like with the £20 vouchers, a lot of people were thinking, "Oh, sick! I've got 10 tickets. Like, my pals have paid me to get them tickets. I've got 10 tickets here. We're all getting a £20 voucher." Wrong. You're getting one. So if you spent however much getting 10 tickets for you and your pals, you're splitting that £20 voucher 10 ways. You're all getting £2, and you're getting fuck all for £2. You can all have a carrier bag. That's all you're getting. But yeah, and then to be offering out free tickets as well, like George said, everybody's got a season ticket or a home advantage pack or a home advantage pack plus, and it's only for the upcoming league games at Emirates. So again, waste of time, and it's not even like people can be like, you know what, I'll take the tickets and I'll sell them. and make some money out of it, because we're not even at the point where people are demanding tickets for the WSL games at the Emirates. So I think the way they worded it was like that they're doing us all a massive favour in return for the fuck up with the venue for the Champions League game, but really they've not done anybody any favours at all.
Yeah, I just like, do you know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to go, oh, we better look at those programme notes. Maybe that's why the players were a bit, hold on, who's the manager? Andrew, like, it doesn't help with trying to repair some of the damage, does it, that has been made recently? Because obviously they're offering out that you can get a £2.25 carrier bag or whatever it's going to work out as.
Yeah, the YTS kid that they built on for their business, they're doing their business kind of course, has done a good job, but they need to go now. Need to get some grown-ups in to do it.
Yeah.
It's just poor form, isn't it? It's just poor. You know, they're trading on a lot of goodwill, and they're just chipping away at it. That's the thing, and it's all avoidable. That's the thing. You know, if some of the things that you could make an excuse for, but it's all avoidable. You know, and sometimes easily so. And it feels like really basic stuff, like, oh, let's just put a ring around that date on the calendar. Let's say, just proofread it. You know, well, they're going to end up with Kelly Smith as playing at number 9 or something, or we got Alex Scott back. But it's poor. It's just poor, and yeah, they need to get that business, the administration side, kind of back on track, because that's, yeah, like I said, they're trading on a lot of goodwill, but they're starting to just chip away at it, and it's a slippery slope. But hey.
Yeah, and we have got a player called Stina Blackstein.
Oh, God.
They completely murdered that. So, Paul, it's just like what Andrew said. It doesn't take a rocket science, does it? And I know people might say it's not actually that much of a big issue, but I think it is. Like, as it just shows the lack of interest, and they would. For me, I don't think they would do that with a men's game. What do you think?
No, I very much doubt it. I mean, one of my jobs is in marketing. So anything that we produce for one of our clients, it goes through at least 3, sometimes 4 people that proofread it, as well as the client themselves. So in a club the size of Arsenal, I would expect half a dozen people to have checked that prior to it going to print. And like we've just said, it might be a little thing, but it's all these little things this season that are adding up to the whole big issue. And yeah, we've got a very loyal fan base. We've got a lot of people that will go week in, week out. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to the Juventus game this week. I'd have loved to have been there, but it's as if they're trading on our loyalty a little bit at the moment, and our loyalty to the club, to the girls. And yeah, I think they just need to take a step back and just look at everything from the outside and look at it from fans' perspective, and just tighten up on some of these little bits that just niggling away.
Yeah, I just don't see, like, I was expecting when they done the lineup to hear that Alex Scott was playing. Like, that's how much awareness I think they have. Like
well,
I said,
if Jonas had still been there, that wouldn't have been surprised me.
Oh yeah, to be fair. Well, they wouldn't do it with the men, would they? And say, like, oh, from the manager's notes, George Graham. Right. Oh yeah. But anyway, that's my rant of the week. So I've not been able to do one for a while because we're actually playing like a proper team at the minute. So
I'll tell you what, though, George, they just don't. I just don't think they actually care. I think because they get the little things wrong, but I'll tell you what, they get the big things wrong as well. The stadium, that's a pretty big thing to get wrong. there's a certain player playing for the Arsenal men's team that a petition's gone out quite recently about, and I'm sure quite a number have signed it. They've got that one. That's probably the worst decision for the club that I think I've seen. They get the big things wrong and they're getting the little things wrong, and I think it's a lack of care. I don't think they're as bothered about the women's team. And I think it's going to be very interesting now to see what happens with this director of football next, because I've been critical of Manchester United, but I think I've perhaps got to just be as critical of Arsenal now as well.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think obviously you're going to have to separate, aren't you? This director of football stuff. I think it's just going to be one for the men, Mertesacker Academy, Claire Wheatley thing for the women, but she's got to be accountable to someone. So I don't know who that for. So it'd be interesting to see what you say. When you said the petition, I thought Zinchenko's not that bad, is he? But no, I know you mean. It's murky ground, really. So before we end the show, we'll move on to Andrew's favourite subject of the day today. So we'll start. I'll start with James. I'll come to Andrew after. About Carla Ward has apparently come out and said she's ready to return, and automatically the wonderful, rational, level-headed Arsenal fan base have all said, no, we don't want Carla Ward. But no one said that Arsenal want Carla Ward. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I think that's exactly it. I think anybody just now, doesn't matter whether it's a men's manager, women's manager, abroad, any name right now, every Arsenal fan's going to speculate.
Yeah.
We definitely don't want her. I've always stuck by, if we're bringing in a manager, we need someone that's been round the block, done it all. Carla Ward's not that. And especially just now, we're doing so well. I think that was more of a, let's throw a little bit of heat on the fire, so to speak. Because the whole manager talk started to die down over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And I think that was a wee spark to get it back up and running again. But personally, I wouldn't even see myself saying Carla Ward would even be interested in coming to Arsenal. I think that'd be too big a job. I think she'd be more looking mid-table teams, someone that she can work on and slowly bring up the link.
That's Spurs. Yeah, I agree. I just don't think. Obviously, I'll come to you, Mel. I just don't think. I don't know where people get their ideas from, but why? Like Arsenal have been looking at people like Nick Cushion, and obviously Renee, and that. I don't know where the Carla Ward. Just because she's free, doesn't mean that we're automatically going to get her, does it?
No, exactly. I think people love to read in between the lines and read what they wanted to say rather than like reading a full article and processing what it says and taking it that way. Like she's not came out in like a full Arsenal top with a scarf and a jacket and been like, oh, I'm ready to come back to coaching. There's folk in prison asking to come out of prison. They're not getting let out of fucking prison. It's no different. You can't just sit and say, I want a job, and somebody's going to be like, here you go. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think if we were to take on Carla Ward, it would be an absolute outcry. She's nowhere good enough to be managing a team of our level, even though we're currently battling for 3rd and 4th place. But even then, like, teams that she's managed have been battling relegation zone. So is that somebody that you want to take into the club? No, not really. There's also a lot of things on social media about Nick Cushion, for example. Again, people are reading into that what they want to read into it. He was never sort of confirmed to be coming. He quite openly said in one of his interviews that he was staying in New York or whatever the fuck he is. I actually don't know. I don't care. But yeah, I think people just read what they want to read, regardless of what decision's made. People are going to have issues with it. But yeah, Carla Ward definitely isn't Arsenal material. I'll take the job over her. I think I'd do it.
It's funny you say that. I might actually start from the channel start a rumour that I've heard that Mel McDonald is in the running
Yeah.
for the Arsenal women's job because
That's why I left my job and tried to sell the house again. That's what it is.
Not a lot of people know this. Like, this is breaking news. It's like, you don't need Romano. It's like, here we go. We've got our own. Mel left her job.
Get somebody who's passionate about football. Get somebody who's. People would hate me. I would be all over Twitter. People would be putting clips of me trying to square goal Kate McCabe on the side of the pitch for being sent off. Like, if people were rattled by Jonas and Viv having a little argument on the side of the pitch, fucking hell, I'd be hung out to dry within two weeks. I'd be pushing
Just to
players.
say, when did you see that?
I'd be a social media nightmare, but we win the league.
Just to say, Mel, did you see that third division Italian manager who one of his players got sent off? I think grabbed him by the neck and sort of threw him down the dugout.
Wow.
I think that could be.
I don't think I'd be quite to that level, but I probably would pull out a few tricks that my coach has. He's been booked a few times for telling us to just, like, literally shouting us across pitch to just fucking foul her when the player's been running through her midfield and they've just let her. So I'd definitely be paying a good bit of a wage out in suspensions and fines. It's fine.
Yeah, you've heard it.
Money doesn't matter when you've got trophies.
You heard it here first. There's more chance Mel getting the job than Carla Ward.
I've probably got more qualifications than her, to be fair. I can't imagine that she does a lot of her coaching classes regularly.
I was going to say that.
I'll tell you what, though, George, we say this, but it's in the hands of Claire Wheatley. So whilst we say sensible things on here, there's always that little thought in the back of my head that thinks, shit, we're as a club, we're daft enough to do something.
Why do you think I'm saying this? Because then, if good old Claire's watching the podcast, then I've just got Mel a job. So.
George, I think we might have scared Claire Wheatley off the podcast a few weeks back. If she was ever going to watch it, we'd need this to be the first episode she'd zoomed into, I think.
Claire Wheatley has left the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, my phone's ringing.
Might be one of those +44 numbers that never talks in the WhatsApp group. It might actually be Claire Wheatley.
We'll find out when my phone starts ringing after the podcast goes off.
Yeah. James, so I'll just come back to you quickly. So, like what Mel was saying, is the level of clubs that I forgot her name.
Carla Ward,
yes. Sorry.
That's how irrelevant she is.
Wardy. Yeah, the levels of clubs that she's managed, like, it is just far too big of a job, isn't it?
Exactly that. It's every manager getting into any job, they've got to take the look, especially with a club like us. As much as it sticks in my throats, we ain't done well enough over the last 3, 4, possibly even pushing 5 years.
Yeah.
We need instant success. And that's where I say is, if we're going to go down the building route, we've got to give Rennie the shout, because we can't go bringing a Carla Ward in. It's simple as that. If we're going to, we need someone. I'm probably going to get misstated on this chat just now, but like Emma Hayes, as much as we hate her, no one can take away the success she brought to Chelsea, as much as it hurts. And we need a manager like that, pure and simple. So for me, any names getting through out, as Jack said, listen, Arsenal, I think is literally they'd reach into a lucky bag and go, today's lucky pick is this. But to be fair, hopefully the sensible heads are on, we take our time. If it's going to be the rest of the season, let it run. Because anybody coming in is a rebuild, even Rennie, if we get the job permanently, is a rebuild. It's their own players. It's time, it's money. Arsenal need to take the time with it, because we just rush in too much.
Yeah. Mel, Is it Laura that said she'll be your assistant?
As
Yeah, Laura said she'll be my assistant. She also says that we'll take Pep when he gets sacked at Christmas
Yeah.
from Man City.
I'll be your assistant, Mel. Don't worry.
We
I
would
don't
need
want.
a translator. Nobody would have a chance to understand what we were saying. Ken would be working overtime trying to get the foreign players to understand what we were saying.
So this is
get Kim there as a translator.
Yeah,
So
true.
this-
Even then, I think she would struggle.
this is the plan, Claire Wheatley, Mel, Laura, and super fucking Jem Beattie on the touchline. Let's go.
Yeah.
We'd win it all.
Just stock us up with plenty of Iron Brew and a few Red Bulls, and I'll be there. I don't take much
Yeah,
bribe.
Yeah. We'll like the North Bank will prepare you. Like we'll just throw every time like there's a throw in or something, we'll just throw it instead of the ball, we'll just throw it like a kind of Iron Brew or something.
A pre-mixed Jaeger bomb.
Yeah, it can be arranged. So Andrew, obviously I know you felt quite passionate about this and you saw my comment in the Facebook group, so I'll let you have the floor about Carla Ward.
I think her agent is an absolute genius. She's probably she's probably mentioned this a few times before and no one's bothered about it, but all of a sudden they've kind of like, I know what this will get the word around. I think it's been a masterstroke by Carla's agent, and she's just getting the free advert out, and everyone's hearing it. Absolutely no chance she's coming to Arsenal, and she's not terrible. And I think as James was saying, she's a good mid-table. There's a lot of clubs where she could do a good job. She's she's done a good job, but a lot of the time she's I think you didn't ask, but I'm going to say I'm still with Renee. I don't, and yes, it might be that that she's only good at doing a short shift, and the long term might be beyond her, but we don't know that. And she's certainly done nothing wrong, and she's done everything right. And I think the thing that she's done is it's been those little changes. So. But yeah, absolutely. Kudos to Carla Ward's agent, and Mel. Get signed up to that agency, and you'll be Scotland's manager. Go big.
Can't be any worse than Pedro. Don't get me started on that man. We don't have long enough for me to enter a rant about Pedro.
Yeah. So yeah, before we finish, Paul, you got any thoughts on Carla?
I don't want to. That's simple as that. I'm quite shocked, though, George, that you referred to Spurs as a mid-table team. I wouldn't give them that much credit.
I was trying to be positive, mate, but like I did actually say this shows the levels of my hatred for that Middlesex bus stop. That I would rather go and watch them get relegated this season than if we had a chance to win the league.
You would not.
I don't know. I've seen Arsenal win the league before, mate.
Yeah, but it's been a long time. As James said, it's about 5-6 years. It's been a long time.
Well, what I could do is who's the last game? Who's the last game against Arsenal's? Can't even think. Is it Brighton? Well, if we're 4-0 up at half time, we've won it in the first half, and then the second half, I'm watching them get relegated. So.
To be fair, I don't think either's happening, but hey, we can dream.
I think our last game was Man United at home.
Oh, I don't know. That's changed it.
I love that.
But that's changed it now. I might not. I can't. Like, if we won the league against Man United with a Russo winner, I think I would run into the away end myself.
I also have a game that day, so
no, you don't.
Don't let my coach see this, but I'm not going to that game. I will be.
I say you can't, Mel. You can't.
You'd be managing.
Exactly. We have a game the week after anyway, so we can win the league the week after. It's fine.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Arsenal can win the league that day, so they don't need me. I've played every game this season. I'm allowed to be off once.
And exactly. And how's your season going so far?
Top of the league, undefeated. Can't complain. Scottish Cup third round. Hoping to get through the fourth round and hopefully get one of the big teams. Hoping for. We take either of the Glasgow or any of the three Glasgow clubs.
Well, you said big team.
Well, to be fair, Celtic are like 6th in the league right now, so I feel like
No,
I
I
can't,
didn't mean Celtic.
I can't say anything about Rangers not being a big team. Yeah, we'll take any of those 3. We'd even take Aberdeen. We want a big day out. Don't care if we're going to get battered. If we're in the Scottish Cup 4th round, if you're going to get battered, you want to go out to the hands of one of the big dogs. And I really want to slide tackle Nicola Doherty. I can't lie.
So you want to go out to Celtic or Glasgow City then?
Yeah. And we've got League Cup quarter final coming up soon, so who knows? Maybe I'll have a couple of trophies to my name by the time Arsenal come knocking on the door.
It's good. And it's good that you're playing so much as well. So no, it's been a difficult one, hasn't it? So that's good. We'll end it there. I just want to say thank you, Paul, for coming on.
You're welcome, mate. Always a pleasure.
I thought you'd gone then.
No, it was Paul that was buffering this time, not his stream. It's fine.
Jack. Yeah, Jack, thank you as well.
No, thank you, George. Obviously, the elephant in the room is Rene was given up to this international break, and we still haven't heard anything. So,
I reckon she'll be there till New Year.
question is, George, will we hear anything about it, or are we just gonna sneakily keep her in? I don't think he even would surprise me.
Yeah, I reckon we'll hear. Andrew, thank you as always, mate. Always a diamond.
Cheers, Gaffer.
I'll see you next Sunday.
I thought what day you were going to pick them, but yeah, see you next Sunday.
Yeah. James, thank you for coming on. You're there that Sunday, aren't you?
We are. It's been a long time coming, but we're back down next Sunday. Laura's birthday as well, so
yeah,
for that.
That's Jaegers at 9 a.m, Laura. And that's just that. That's not even in the coronet. That's just on the off license. Just want to say, Mel, thank you for always being you and helping, and appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you very much. Hopefully next time I'm sitting here, I will be wearing a Scotland top because Scotland will have won their next 2 games in this international break, and we will be going to the Euros. But it's Pedro, so you never know. That man loves to let me down.
Yeah, no way, Pedro.
So, and it's at Easter Road, so I hate Easter Road. So
is that where Hibs play?
Full offense to anybody who supports Hibs, your stadium's awful. But I'm going there anyway.
It's like the Scottish Dagenham.
Yeah.
So yeah, on that note, thanks to everyone in the chat. We will be back next Monday where we will be talking about something probably, and previewing the Villa game. All I want to say is, in reference to Laura's message about we want Pep, remember Man City, stay humble. Good night.
Good night.